11 a.m. by 11, I think it's the title, 11 by 11 Baldovan by Don Paterson. Don Paterson is a poem which basically talks about um, a sort of childhood event of the speaker visiting um, visiting a nearby place, going on a bus maybe for the first time or going on a bus as a kid and sort of describing the experience of traveling somewhere without a parent. Um, the poem essentially goes from discussing the this experience of traveling somewhere without a parent, and then the poem quickly transitions to a sort of using the bus or using the journey of the bus to this other place, this new place or this sort of place of uncertainty and so on, using the bus journey as a way of transitioning the speaker from where they are as a child to the present, essentially, where I guess you would call it the future, essentially from going from being a kid to the present, or from kid to, future, if you like. It's essentially the present, but what I mean is it's like he's reflecting back on being a child, and then he talks about where he is sort of in the present. Um, Present when the place that they called home has changed essentially a lot. So taking the idea of a journey and using it as a sort of not necessarily a metaphor. I guess it is a metaphor. It is a metaphor pretty much. But essentially using the journey as a poetic device, a literary device to take the speaker from where they are at the beginning here, um, to where they are in the present, reflecting as an adult on like their home. Okay, so the poem begins. Okay, so the poem begins. Base camp, horizontal sleet. Two small boys have raised the steel flag of the 20 terminus. Now, base camp is the mention of base camp sets the poem up with the idea that the speaker and his friend are about to engage in a sort of adventure, because base camp is what you start with when you climb big mountains. You start at the base camp, and the base camp is the place of safety. It's the place that you begin the journey at. It's the place that you secure first when you're going to start the big journey, like when you do Mount Everest, for example. You start at the Everest base camp and you'll plan the rest of your mission from the base camp. So essentially, it puts the speaker and his friend in the context or perspective of being on the cusp of about to engage on a sort of grand adventure, dangerous adventure, because base camp again is related to mountains and which are obviously dangerous. That's why you have a base camp. So something dangerous, something adventurous, something that is unknown, and so on. Okay, horizontal sleet. Two small boys, again, so they're very young, they're small, have raised the steel flag of the 20 terminus, so they're waiting for the bus essentially to come. Me and Ross Moody, that's his friend, are going up the hill town. That's the place that they're going to. It's like the shopping center. It's like a place I believe it's in Dundee. It's a place where it's like a shopping kind of place, huh? For the first time ever on our own. I'm weighing up my spending power, the shillings, tanners, black pennies, florins with bald kings. And you can tell that this is taking place in the past, because obviously we don't have shillings today. This is old currency. We don't use shillings anymore. So this is obviously taking place in the past. The cold blazonry of a half crown, again, same thing. Three penny bits. These are all old kind of currency, yeah? Like thick cogs, making them chank together in my pockets. So basically, the speaker has a pocket full of change, pocket full of uh, currency that he's been gathering up. He's been, saving. This is probably his pocket money or, money he's gotten from doing little jobs around the house or something, and he's basically collected all this money together and he's been saving up for this day. So again, it just adds to the excitement. It's like when you're a kid and you're saving up for something fun, something that you're really looking forward to. Um you really want to buy something, and then you have to take a lot of time to save up your money, and so you can put it together and then you can eventually buy the thing. So it's again, it's sort of all in line with the idea of being on an adventure and being on about to do something which is sort of exciting and also dangerous. Okay. I plan to buy comics, sweeties, and magic tricks. So again, you can tell that the speaker is, very young. He wants comic books, he wants candy, sweets, and magic tricks. He wants like, those uh, little magic things, like cards or the little wand that pops up, flowers come out of it, etc. However, I am obscurely worried, as usual, over matters of procedure, the protocol of travel. So, huh. So basically, they've been on this bus before because it says for the first time on our own. So they've been on this bus before, and it's likely that he's been obviously with his parents or some kind of adult. Um, but the speaker is worried about the journey, and he's basically asking his friend, for questions which are sort of for reassurance. Like, um, are we going the right way? Where should we sit? When should we get off the bus? And so on and so on. So you can tell again, it's sort of just again an illustration of sort of his how young he is and inexperienced he is and um nervous also he is. And so he's kind of relying on his friend for like comfort and sort of confidence. If we have enough money for the fare, whispering, "Are you sure? Are you sure?" Again, he's like a kid now, so he wants to basically make sure that um everything's they're ready, essentially prepared, and nothing goes wrong, so that they can have their adventure and he can buy his comics and sweets and stuff. Okay, I cannot know the little good it will do me. The bus will let us down in another country. I cannot know the little good it will do me because he's young, he's innocent, he has no understanding of reality, and so he the questions he's asking to his little young comrade, uh the reassurance his comrade, his little friend is giving to him. It's like an innocent and essentially he feels good that his friend is giving him safety and whatever, but his friend's just a kid as well, and so realistically speaking, his friend really can't keep him safe from like reality. And so that's what he's saying. I cannot know how little good it will do me. The bus will let us down in another country because they're young, and so traveling somewhere, anywhere far from home, even if it's not that far from home, a few miles from home, seems like they're in a whole nother world, essentially. Yeah. Any kind of journey will be transportation to another world. And this is foreshadowing for the end of the poem, where the speaker, as an adult returning to his home, feels as if he's in another country, as the changes are sort of so drastic. Okay, so he goes on to say, with the wrong streets and streets that suddenly forget their names at crossroads or in building sites, and where no one will have heard of the sweets we ask for, and the man will shake the coins from our fists onto the counter. So essentially, they go to the place and they don't know what anything is. They don't recognize any place. They don't know the names of anything. Obviously, this is before the age of, phones and technology, and so they're relying on street signs and, this is back in the time where you'd go on an adventure with a friend. I think back to being a kid, riding my bike with my friends, different places, and catching the bus to places. Um, you would essentially navigate just by, you know, Just just by doing your best, pretty much. You just navigate by, just trying to figure out along the way, using the signs, using the landmarks, and just hoping that you made it home, pretty much. Yeah. It's funny. I remember one time I was with my cousin and we were young, yeah, maybe 14, 13, something young. I remember we went somewhere and I remember we had no money. I had like £2 in my pocket. And I remember we came up with this crazy plan that we were gonna jump in a taxi and we were about so I think we what happened was we had walked to our high school, which is about a mile from uh it's about a mile a mile walk basically. And it was late and so we were kind of tired and so we we decided that we were gonna get a taxi and the plan basically just some bad kids, yeah, just some no not bad kids, but just some crazy kids, some wild kids, yeah, some funny kids. So the plan was we were gonna jump in a taxi and then we were gonna basically get to the get back to the hood and get back to where we lived and when we got here we were basically gonna open the taxi door and run run away because we didn't have no money yet, so we were thinking, okay, I had £2 in my pocket, so we're thinking, all right, we'll get the taxi, and then as soon as the man parks up, we can jump out. This is it's bad. Yeah, you shouldn't obviously you shouldn't do this yet, but we were just some young kids, yeah. So anyway, what ends up happening is we get a taxi, and as soon as we get in, the man locks the doors. And then we look at each other and think, oh sh we didn't know because we're stupid young and stupid. We didn't know you could lock the door from the driver could lock the door out. We thought if you're gonna lock the door, you have to, lock it from like next to the door, basically. So anyway, the driver locked the door. It put a little sign on the on the little electronic sign flashed up on the next to the door window, locked, and there was no lock that you could open. Uh, so we're in the back and we're thinking, what do we do? So basically, what happened is, as he's driving, we just basically we had to tell him, because like broke as a joke here. The meter is going up, £2, £3, £4, £5. I'm like, this is not good, man. We're finna catch a beating or something. So we just told him, yo, listen, man, I'm really sorry, but we only got £2. We only got £2, man. I'm very sorry. And we were lucky. And basically, the guy was like a very nice guy, and he's like, I still remember he said to us, he's like, "You're a pair of chancers," and he's like, "All right, don't worry about it," and he let us out, yeah. Uh, so it worked out okay, yeah, thankfully. But that's the type of stuff that was happening like when I was a kid, yeah. And so these two kids are sort of experiencing the same kind of thing. It's like it's their first steps into adventure out there. Uh, and so they've landed in this place and or they've arrived in this place and it's completely different from what they had anticipated. All the names are different, the sweet shops. It's not like how they expected. Um, the street names they're getting lost, they're trying to find their way and no one will have heard the sweets we ask for. The thing they want is different from what is available. So essentially it's like stepping into the unknown, yeah, basically. And one other thing that this is reminiscent of is the classic hero's journey, in that the structure of this poem reflects the hero's journey, which essentially the hero's journey, if I make it kind of simple for you, essentially it begins with the hero in the what you could say is like the normal world, their home as it is, Frodo in the Shire, Harry Potter in his auntie's house, uh, like that, a normal world. So the world as they are used to it, and then some event happens, like these two catching the bus, or what's his name? Gandalf showing up in the Shire. Some event happens which the hero leaves his home and goes out. And essentially where they go is into the unknown. They go into the unknown and uh which is why it's called a journey. They start on an adventure somewhere. And then at the end of the hero's journey is the return to where they came from, except it's not really a return to where they came from. It's uh a transformation. So basically, the world as they knew it in the beginning changes along with the hero, basically. So if you think about Frodo in the beginning, they have the Shire, and I mean, technically the Shire doesn't really change too much, but so you have the Shire and you have the world, like Middle Earth. And then he goes on his journey, okay? And along with him going on his journey, the world itself changes and changes until he completes his mission, and the world goes from being full of darkness and like bad things from what's his name, Sauron, when he gets defeated and the ring gets put in the what do you call it, lava and that, um, to now it being like a new world, which is like a good world. Does that make sense? So there's some kind of shift and change. Um, if the world, and this happens pretty much every story or most stories essentially follow this narrative, what would you call it, structure? Um, if the world at the end is changed for the better, that's like a happy story. Uh, like the Lord of the Rings would be a happy story. If the world at the end is changed for the worse, that would be like a tragic story. Like a tragic story. So anyway, the speaker at this point, they say, and call for his wife to come through and see this. And if we ever make it home again, the bus. So if we ever make it home again, this is the initiation of the return from the journey. The bus will draw us, or the ending of the journey, if you can think about it that way too. Excuse me. The bus will draw us into the charred wreck of itself, and we will enter the land at the point we left off. So they were gonna return now home, okay? Except it's not the kid now. Now we're in the present, the charred wreck of itself. This is the present. The bus today is either extremely old and broken, because of the passage of time, or the bus itself doesn't actually even exist anymore. It's gone. Um, it's like a feature of the past, like a shipwreck. Um, we will enter the land at the point we left off. Only our voices sound funny, and all the houses are gone. World has changed. You see, we're in the present now, and the rain tastes like Kelly, and black waves fold in very slowly at the foot of McAlpine Road. And our sisters and mothers are 50 years dead. So essentially returning home to the original place, except the original place has now changed and his family has passed away. People have changed. They don't speak the same way that he spoke, or he still speaks. Uh, and the place itself looks different. It's changed essentially. So Um, again, completing the hero's journey essentially. So he returns home, but everything is different. Not as a child, he returns home as an adult, and everything is different. Um, so it's I guess you could call this maybe sort of tragic or melancholy at the end, essentially. It's not completely tragic in that to have a complete tragedy, the something sort of negative would need to happen to the speaker, or he would essentially have to not achieve whatever his goal was. I wouldn't. I guess you could say it's sort of tragic in that he didn't necessarily get what he wanted from going out as a child, and it's also his he's lost his relatives and so on. Um, although I wouldn't call it completely tragic in that the um complete tragedy is usually when the speaker has some kind of goal and the goal itself is completely like not achieved. I'll give you an example. Uh complete tragedy would be like Romeo and Juliet, where Romeo his mission in life is marry Juliet, have a happy life with her. Uh and that does not get achieved at all. Like he dies, she dies, no love, and so on. That's complete tragedy. This would be more like melancholy in that the speaker is still alive. He may have gotten some things from his journey. He returns to his old home, um, except the home has changed in a sort of not necessarily a negative way, it's just different. It feels different. And the relatives have passed on and the place itself has moved on from how he remembers it. So melancholy, that'd be a good word for it, melancholy. Um, so this nice little poem, definitely way better than the the other one, which is weird. Um, okay, but I'm gonna do the other Paterson poems. I'm gonna get through them, and